Hi everyone, I am back. I'm Julia with Mike. We're
Yo,
little shopping nerds. I forgot
Mike.
to say that, yeah. So I am back this week. Like we said in last week's video, that I had some circumstances and I was unable to participate. So I am now back, and as you can see, we are in my apartment again. So, um, this week's hint is hippogriff.
Yes, today we are going to get back to our Harry Potter comparison. So we are talking about the book 3 and the third movie of Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm. This is, fun fact, guys, this is the only book that does not mention, it mentions Voldemort.
It didn't have him in it.
Yes, this is the only book that Voldemort does not show up.
Yes, because, you're going to say, in the first book, he was on Quirrell's head.
Mm-hmm.
In the second book, he was a memory in the diary.
Yeah, so that counts because he did say in the second book that I am Lord Voldemort. So his memory in the diary, I'm not going to get into what that is, but if you guys have read the books and you've seen the movies and you already know what it is, but for those of you who don't, I'm not going to tell you what it is because that plays a very big part in the 6th book.
Yes.
When we actually find out what it was. So I'm not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that because this video isn't about Chamber of Secrets. It's about Prisoner of Azkaban.
All right, okay. It starts up with, this is the different from the book and the movie.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, Harry's doing all the assignments he's supposed to do for Hogwarts. But here's the thing. He's kind of doing it over was it candlelight?
It was flashlight.
Flashlight.
Yeah.
And but he has to be careful because if he hears Uncle Vernon, he has to stop it and get back to work because he doesn't want him to pretty much work on his schoolwork.
Yeah, so he was actually writing an assignment. But in the movie, they actually had him doing magic, which I don't actually know if Lumos is an actual spell that they are not allowed to do. Because it just lights your wand tip. So I don't know if that's considered
who knows?
That's something I know if he were to do some other magic, if he were to do Accio or something, then that would be cause for concern.
Yep.
But Lumos is one of those spells that I'm completely unsure about because they did use Lumos in the 4th book, but they didn't. But we're not talking about that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Harry, Vernon's sister's coming, but I think in the book she's more of a bitch in the book and in the movie.
She definitely is. Which in the movie she is played by the woman, I can't remember, I don't know her name, but she played Mrs. Trunchbull in the movie Matilda with Danny DeVito and Mara Wilson and Rita Wilson.
Rita
Perlman. Yeah. So she played Mrs. Trunchbull in that movie, and then she played Aunt Marge in this one.
Yep.
She almost seems like she was typesetted to play mean, cruel characters.
Right now, what was it? If you look at Tom Felton, people keep saying Tom Felton praised his work as Malfoy, but people think, oh, he's one of those guys.
See, Tom Felton loved being in Harry Potter, and he still loves Harry Potter to this day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. I love Tom Felton. Okay, he played a wonderfully good Draco Malfoy, but people think that he needs to move away from that. I don't think that he should. Fun fact about Tom Felton: Sebastian Sallow from Hogwarts Legacy is actually his favorite character. Sebastian Sallow is mine too.
Well, either way, I heard he's doing a new movie soon.
Oh.
I don't know what's called.
Oh.
I'll find it later.
I also did hear that he is going to have some sort of role in the new HBO Harry Potter. I don't know if that means that he's going to be in the movie or in the show, or if he's doing something behind the scenes. I just know that he is going to be part of that.
Yep.
I would love to see him be in the movie or in the show. And I would love to see him play Lucius, because that's what he actually wanted to do. Like, was he wanted to be Lucius Malfoy. Anyways, we're getting off topic.
But yes, Aunt Marge comes. In the books, it explains she breeds bulldogs.
Yes.
But in the movie, it doesn't say. She just comes.
Yeah, she did bring a dog with her in the movie, if I do remember correctly.
Yep.
It's actually been a bit since I've watched the movies, but I pretty much know them almost as well as I have watched, or as well as I know the books.
Right. Right. And here's more.
So.
But yes, in the book and the movie, kind of similar. How Harry and her are arguing. But before that, before she comes, Harry asked Vernon to sign his paper to Hogsmeade, and he asked and Vernon told, he's like, just lie to Aunt my sister. Tell her we send you to this crappy school.
Yeah, it was like St. Brutus's school for the incurably criminal or something like that.
Yeah, and he said fine, but here's the thing. Marge was being her typical asshole of herself.
Yeah, so in the book, so when Harry got all that information, it was his birthday. So, he got his gifts from his friends, and Hermione sent him, this nice broomstick kit to take care of his broomstick. Because, one of his most prized possessions is his Nimbus 2000. So, he has this kit, and he had to hide everything under the floorboard under his bed. And so that's where he would put everything. I think that was also the year that they sent him food, or was it the year after?
I think it was the year after.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because remember, Dudley was on the strict diet.
Yeah. So every time, Aunt Marge was staying for a week. So he had to keep up this appearance for a week. And in the movie, it didn't really say, how long she was staying. And it just kind of, seemed to fly by real quickly. It only seemed like she had been there for, a day at that point.
Right,
when everything happens. But, hold on, I'll get to it. So, every time she would start in on him, he would be he would think about his book, the broomstick the book that came with his broomstick kit. He would think about that, and he would get this glazed look on his face, which would play up the part that he was supposed to be incurable of whatever.
Yeah.
And then he also had to lie and say that he got beat a lot with a cane.
And that's
that made her happy.
Yeah, well, that's what the British use. Because think, in America we use paddles, they use canes.
Yeah. So on the final night, just as Harry was getting, he was almost free of her, and he would have had his form signed for Hogsmeade. But Aunt Marge was getting drunk.
And disrespectful.
Yeah, and she started in about Harry's parents, and Harry just couldn't take it anymore. So he's like, don't talk about my parents like that. And there was a part where her glass, her wine glass shattered in her grip. And they actually thought that Harry had did it. But then she was like, oh, well, I have a strong grip, and I've done the same thing before. There's actually a fan theory going around saying that Petunia was the one that had exploded it. Which, guys...
No.
Petunia didn't have any sign of magic. That's why she didn't get to go to Hogwarts. We will get into that later. But Petunia didn't do it. I kind of believe that it was Aunt Marge that had did it because she said she had done it before. Unless the guy that she was with at the time, it was her friend, Colonel Filibuster or something. Unless he also has, is a wizard and she just doesn't know when he exploded. Who knows?
Yeah, and pretty much... she blew up like a balloon.
Yeah.
And she kind of flew away. And Harry gets his stuff, leaves. and Vernon is mad, I think in both books and movies, and
Mm-hmm.
Harry doesn't care, and he knows he's not going to get his slip sign. He just left, and in the book it does describe because Sirius, you know how Sirius is an
Animagus. He can turn. Let's just say he can turn into an animal.
He turned into his dog form, and
yeah, which in the movie they never mentioned him, but in the book they did.
Yeah.
Like before.
Oh.
Aunt Marge came to stay with him.
That's also one thing they did different in the book and the movie is Lupin. You know how in the movie Lupin kept mentioning Harry's dad, like how they were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the book, Lupin mentioned his dad, but they never admit they were friends.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, they didn't mention that a whole lot.
Until close to because he would say, "You have your mother's eyes. You look like your dad, but you have your mother's eyes."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Harry gets picked up by the night bus, and he gets taken to the Leaky Cauldron.
But here's the thing: the conductor of the night bus asked his name. In the book, Harry gives his name saying he was Neville Longbottom. Mm-hmm. But in the movie, he said, I didn't. But in one way...
Yeah. So there was just a lot... there was the whole... I feel like that they had condensed the story of what Sirius Black had done the night that he was captured, or the night that the Potters had died.
Yep.
I feel like that they had maybe condensed that down a little bit. Because there was definitely a lot, talking about, which we find out later, which we probably shouldn't mention that until we get to that part. So they eventually reached Leaky Cauldron. The Minister of Magic is there. Fudge. He is there in both the book and the movie. And then he does... I don't think he asked Fudge in the book or in the movie, but he did ask him in the book if he could sign his Hogsmeade permission form.
Yeah, it's in the book.
And he said that he couldn't because he's not his guardian. He's like, well, you're the Minister of Magic. He's like, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, giving you permission,
Typical politician
So
crap.
At this point, we don't know anything about, like, why Sirius Black is out of Azkaban or anything like that. So then Harry gets to stay for the last, I think it was week or 2 weeks at the Leaky Cauldron without the Dursleys. He has, like, free reign of Diagon Alley.
Yeah, and it mentions he went to ice cream shops. He kept looking at, kept taking money out of his vault, but he said he had to be careful how to save it.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it felt like it was just a day and that was it.
Yeah. And he did have, like, that's when they announced the new broomstick, the Firebolt. And Harry, kept going back every day to look at it. He rewrote his one essay because Florin Fortescue, who ran the ice cream shop that he would go to, actually would give him free ice cream and knew a lot about what Harry was writing his story on, which I think was witch burnings. Or, not his story, but his essay. So he was able to, like, rewrite his whole entire essay because of all the information that he got from Fortescue. And Fortescue was giving him free ice cream on the hour, every hour. Because, it's Harry Potter.
He's the boy who lived.
Yeah, so, they said, I think it was, like, a few weeks before. Or not a few weeks before, but, like, a few days before, the Weasleys showed up. Because the Weasleys got to go to Egypt because Arthur had won the Daily Prophet Grand Prize of, I think, 1,000 galleons. So they were able to go to Egypt to visit their second eldest, Charlie, who, it was Bill.
Bill?
They went to Bill because they went to Egypt.
Yeah, because...
To their eldest.
Because Bill studies... What? He studied curses or something?
He's a curse breaker for Gringotts.
Yeah, then
Gringotts.
he was in Egypt for work, then he moved back to Gringotts.
Yeah. So his eldest, their eldest, they went to go visit him in Egypt. Ron sent Harry a sneakoscope. And Ron said that Bill said that it was faulty when he sent it to Harry. He said it was faulty because it just kept going off at dinner, but that was because he didn't know that the twins had put beetles in Bill's soup. So,
which is funny because
yeah, it detects anything untrustworthy, I guess.
Yes, and in the book we get more of Percy being a dick.
Yeah, Percy is even more pompous than usual because he became head boy.
Yes, and what was it? He blamed Ron at first, and
yeah, there was a part where he said that Ron had dribbled tea onto his picture of his girlfriend Penelope Clearwater, and her nose got all blotchy, so she was hiding under the frame.
Yeah, and
oh, this is where Hermione also gets Crookshanks.
Yeah, because in the movie it looks like she already got her, but now Scabbers was looking sick, so they went to go get some medicine, and Hermione was trying to get like a pet or something, and she decided to get a cat.
Yeah, because her parents gave her some extra money as an early birthday gift, because if those of you who don't know, Hermione's birthday is in September. So she is actually, by the time that she is at Hogwarts, she is already 14 years old. Well, she turns 14 at Hogwarts in September.
Yeah.
So, those of you who don't know how schools work, you have to be a certain age before the cutoff date. So, like, for Hogwarts, it was September 1st. So, you had to be, to go to your first year, you had to be 10 years old, or was it 11?
11.
Okay, yeah, you had to be 11 before September 1st. So, you could be turning 11 on August 31st, and you're good to go. Hermione's birthday is after September 1st, so then she had to go the following year. So she was 12 during her first year. So she is roughly she's almost a year older than Harry. Yeah. Ron's birthday's in February. So sorry, Mike, didn't mean to touch you there. So she is roughly almost a year older. She's just 10 months older than Harry. So
yeah, something like that.
So we're getting off topic again.
But anyways, like I said, they get the stuff, get Crookshanks, and
Crookshanks doesn't like Scabbers from the very beginning.
And we'll find out the reason why, and they both get on the train. Yeah. But before that, both in the book and movie, Arthur's warning Harry not to go after Sirius Black, and Harry.
In the book, he heard them talking about it.
Yeah, that's true. In the book, Arthur was talking about it with Molly.
Yeah.
And Harry eavesdropped, but in the movie, Arthur told him, but either way, when they're on the Hogwarts Express, Harry told what's going on, and that's when we get the Dementors.
Yeah. Lupin is also in he's in the carriage with them, asleep. So that's the same in the book and the movie. Like what Mike said, the Dementors show up.
But also in the book, I think they said Lupin dressed more rattier because,
Yeah. So there is a reason why, and we're not going to get into it yet, but there is a reason why he doesn't have nicer robes and why
his briefcase looks like, because they say it's held up by what?
It was like knots or something like that. Yarn probably, or string.
Yeah, and
knotted.
And I think, what was it? I heard James gave Lupin that briefcase or something.
I did not hear about that.
Maybe it's just one of the fan theories.
Yeah. So, anyways, the Dementors come. In the book, or in the movie, they just had Harry, Ron, and Hermione in the carriage with Lupin. But in the book, Ginny came, Neville came. And then Harry kind of had a fit and fell onto the floor because he heard his mom screaming. He is the only one that actually hears voices. And so they weren't going to let that try to get out or anything. Yeah. But then it does get out, and Malfoy's a dick.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone's at the feast. Dumbledore telling them, "Watch where you're going."
No, before that, Hermione and Harry get called up to McGonagall's office. They didn't have that in the book or in the movie, but they had it in the book.
Yes.
They got called up to her office. She tried to tell Harry that, hey, Sirius Black is after you. And Harry was like, oh, I already know. Ron's dad told me, because he works with the ministry.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, okay. And then she calls Hermione in and talks to her privately. And Hermione looks really excited about something.
Yes.
We don't find out what that is until later.
Yeah, and
So by the time they got down to the feast, the sorting was over.
Yeah, and besides that, they, just goof around, and then it cuts to, in the movie, one of their classes. I forget which class.
What were they doing in the class?
I forget. It's been a while since I've seen the third movie. Could
it possibly have been Defense Against Dark Arts?
I think that's layered on, because...
Where they fight the boggart?
Yeah, but, okay. It's gonna... If we're doing this crocodile... let's just do random stuff. Because I'm... Like I said, it's been a while since I watched the movie.
Okay, so...
I do know in the book, with the boggart and this... But the different... Okay, can we just say the difference between the boggart and the book? All right, in the book, the boggart... Like I said, Lupin is teaching them, how to do the boggart, right? And turns out he's really good at Defense of the Dark Arts. Mm-hmm. People love him, but we'll get to that later. He tells them what to do, telling Neville, hey, do this and that, Then everyone's having fun, doing ridiculous, but when it gets to Harry, Lupin says ridiculous, and the boggart goes away. See, in the movie, the boggart turned into a Dementor, but in the book, it's different. Lupin tried to block it before Harry could do anything, and there was a reason, because
he was afraid that the boggart would turn into Lord Voldemort,
and he didn't want to bring that up.
Yeah. So then, during the Hogsmeade visit comes up. Because Harry felt really weird that, he kept him from fighting the boggart. So then, which we should talk about what Neville made his boggart. Okay, so Neville's terrified of Professor Snape.
Yes.
Okay, if you have a student that is afraid of their teacher like that, there's an issue.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame Neville at all for being terrified of Snape. Because... come on. He was afraid of a teacher, of someone who is there, who is supposed to instruct him, and is supposed to treat him like any other student, but he doesn't, because Snape is a dick.
Yes. And also...
Plain and simple. I fucking hate Snape. He is a well-written character. I'll admit he is a well-written character, but he is a shitty person.
Yes. Also, in the book, when they're in potions class, they're making a shrieking potion.
And he threatened to kill he threatened to kill Neville's toad if he did not do his potion right.
But Hermione silently helped him.
Yeah.
And he says, how many points away from Gryffindor because Hermione helped him?
Yeah, I can't remember how many it was, but he took points away because, he threatened to kill poison Neville's toad.
Yes.
And whether he would have given him the antidote or not, who knows?
Yes.
Because Snape's a dick.
Yes. But then we get the part with Hagrid.
Well, no, because we're not done with that. I'm not done with this part yet. So, anyways, Neville made his boggart put Professor Snape in his grandmother's clothes, which was absolutely hilarious.
Yes, and when we
after that, he gets bullied by Snape even more.
When we get to the fifth book, we see why Neville's grandmother is the way she is.
Yeah. She is definitely... something else.
Yes, but anyways, then we get to Beast class with Hagrid.
Hagrid, yeah, because Hagrid is now the new Care of Magical Creatures teacher.
Yes, and he gives him the Book of Monsters.
Yeah, the Book of Monsters is a book that snaps at everything.
Yeah,
it's basically a monster book of monsters.
Yes, and it's funny. Harry goes into a bookstore trying to get a different book. Mm-hmm. And the guy's like, oh, not the Book of Monsters, because how it is.
Yeah.
And Harry had to wrap his in a belt or something.
A belt, yeah.
And in the book and movie, Hagrid says, rub the spine. And there, pretty much the first class was hippogriffs, which was in the book, both book and movie. Hagrid says, "Be nice to him," but in the book he explains more. He says, "Treat him with respect," because he's saying, "Don't call him like dumb or idiot." And he tells him to bow, and and they did the same thing in the book, and kind of in the movie, but in the book, everyone was taking care of a different hippogriff.
Yeah. So Harry got to meet Buckbeak. He got to pet Buckbeak, and then he got to kind of fly around the enclosure with him. So Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle took over Buckbeak. Malfoy had already bowed to Buckbeak. Buckbeak had already bowed back, but then he insulted Buckbeak. Buckbeak attacked him because they're proud they're proud creatures, and you don't do that.
And
shows that they weren't listening.
Yes, and then was it Malfoy goes to the nurse and put his arm in a cast or something.
Yeah, in a sling. He played it up, even though he probably had already been healed. But then it turns out that then there is the first Quidditch match comes up. They're playing against Hufflepuff.
It's because Malfoy didn't want to play.
Yeah, because they were supposed to go up against Slytherin first. But it's raining really heavily, and people's emotions are high, and that attracted the Dementors because they have Dementor stationed around the gates of Hogwarts. They came onto the ground to come up there, and with the way that Harry is affected by the Dementors, he fell off of his broom. They did lose the match, and then his broom fell and hit the Whomping Willow and was destroyed.
Yeah, and also before the match, because they knew they were playing in the rain, Hermione or something, used a charm on his glasses so the rain could...
Yeah.
And yes, that's also true. And once everyone was... And in the book, I think Dumbledore was more pissed off because how the Dementors came around the Quidditch match.
Yeah. He slowed Harry down, and then he cast a Patronus, which we didn't know it was a Patronus at the time. They just said that he shot some silvery stuff at the Dementors, and they went away.
Yep.
Now Harry doesn't have a broomstick.
Yep.
They lost to Hufflepuff. Cedric Diggory, which he plays a bigger role in the next book. He was the seeker for Hufflepuff. So then it just goes on where they keep talking to Harry that he needs to get a new broom because he's using the school brooms, and the school brooms suck, and he was about to buy a Nimbus 2001, but he didn't really want to because...
He likes his old broom.
He liked his old broom.
And there was no way to fix it, and...
Yeah.
And, but before all... Hang on. What was it? We still get the problem with Crookshanks going after Scabbers and Hermione and Ron. Well, before they stop talking to each other, Harry gets a Christmas present.
No, because they weren't talking to each other for a little bit because of Crookshanks always trying to get to Scabbers.
Okay, yes.
So we also find out that Hagrid has to go to the Ministry with Buckbeak because because since Buckbeak attacked Malfoy, he now has to face an inquiry with the Ministry for the disposal of magical creatures.
Yes.
So Hermione has offered to help Hagrid with that. We also find out she doesn't like divination. Yes. She finds out that divination is a complete waste of time.
And also in the book, McGonagall keeps saying Trelawney, was it?
Yeah, Professor Trelawney was a fraud.
Yes.
Or something similar.
Yeah, and everything else, and and the reason is, yes, Hermione doesn't do great in the class, and she and Ron does make a good point in the book, is you're good at everything, but you're not good at this.
And I think it's because Hermione is more of a fact-based person, despite there being magic all over the place. Her thing is logic, and divination to her, I don't think seems logical.
Well, it's true, but besides that and all that and
Yeah, so there's just a lot. There's a lot that's going on.
Yes, and she's starting to go nuts with all the classes she takes.
Yeah, and Ron is the only one that asks her, how are you getting to multiple classes at once? He's the only one that started to notice how tired she was looking and stuff. This is my OTP right here. Ron and Hermione, OTP. OTP since the very first fucking book.
Yes, and like I said, with,
Yeah, so...
Then with Crookshanks and Scabbers, they stopped talking for a while. And also, they kind of put Harry in the middle. And don't ever do this to a friend.
Yeah. So then here comes Christmas. And they are enjoying their time together. Well, Harry gets a firebolt for Christmas. No one knows who it's from. There was no note. No nothing. Harry's just like, oh, fuck yeah. I just got the best broom ever for free.
And in the movie, he gets it at the end, which was stupid.
Yeah. So, Hermione is feeling weird about it because she's like, there's no note or anything? And he's like, no. So then after their feast, which, Trelawney joins them for the feast, and she, was afraid to sit down because of there was already 13 people at the table. And then the first person who would stand up would die. There's a lot of fan theories about that. I'm not going to get into those fan theories. But Hermione's like, hey, I need to stay behind because I need to talk to Professor McGonagall real quick. And they're like, oh, okay. And they were like, what did you think she needed to talk about? And Ron says, oh, probably to see if she could take more classes. She was telling Professor McGonagall that Harry had received a broomstick and she was afraid that it came from Sirius Black.
And I get what Hermione was doing. She was trying to be safe. But also, don't always snitch on a friend sometimes.
Yeah, so McGonagall came in and took it. We forgot about the Marauders map. We forgot to bring up the Marauders map. Fred and George had a Marauders map, showed him the halls of Hogwarts, ways to get out of Hogwarts so he could go to Hogsmeade. He goes to Hogsmeade at one point. That's when he finds out that Sirius Black was friends with his parents, got his parents killed. Because they were the secret keeper. He told Voldemort where his parents came, killed them.
And talked about Pettigrew and
yeah,
everything.
and Pettigrew had died and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's in the book, but also in the book with the Marauders map, it talks about how Harry's going through the cave, the secret entrance to the cave and everything else. And Hermione doesn't like it, and Ron's like this and that, and was it a while in Hogsmeade when, what was it, Harry throws snowballs?
That came a little bit later.
Well, either way.
I think it was when because Ron and Harry stopped talking to Hermione after the firebolt incident. But she was still, doing things for Hagrid, too.
Trying to get him off the case and everything else, trying to prove Buckbeak wasn't bad.
Yeah, so then Harry snuck up to Hogsmeade during a Hogsmeade weekend. He had his invisibility cloak, and Hermione's like, if you go, I'm going to tell Professor McGonagall about that map. And he was like, no. He still goes, takes the invisibility cloak, basically to hide from Hermione. In the movie, they had Ron and Hermione with him at this point, but they're looking at the Shrieking Shack. Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle come up. They start insulting Ron. Harry throws snowballs at them and mud balls and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they definitely, in the movie, they had all three of them. They definitely did not do the fight between the three of them properly, because there was definitely a fight.
Yeah, and pretty much Harry's trying to race back and everything, and Snape caught him and saw the map.
Mm-hmm. And then the map insulted him.
Yep. Which
is one of the best things ever. And then he called Lupin, had Lupin come and take a look at the map. He was like, oh, this is just a Zonko's
joke map.
Yeah, it insults anybody who reads it. But then we find out that he knew that it was a map. and he knew who the Marauders were.
Yeah,
and around this time, I think they started doing the Patronus classes.
Well, no, he was doing it with him because he wanted to learn.
What I was saying was that Harry was doing the Patronus classes with Lupin.
Yep. And, I know, what was it? But back to the map, right? Before.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, Snape caught him in the halls after lights out, so...
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But yes, we get to when Lupin trains on the Patronus with Harry or whatever, and in the book he tells him it's an advanced spell to learn. You gotta be a certain year to learn it. It's hard to learn, but he said I need to learn it just in case something happens.
Mm-hmm. And so then we find out that Harry's Patronus, it's just very weak. Because he doesn't seem to have a whole lot of happy memories that he can really focus on.
And I think in the book explains why, but...
Yeah. So, he does manage to, do a shield. And his Patronus doesn't really take any shape at that point. It's just mist.
Yeah.
So then, Harry, talks about how he heard that, he heard his dad's voice for the first time. And here, along with his mother's voice, because the Dementor, the Boggart Dementor, was just, because they were using a Boggart.
Yep.
Was just kind of affecting him a little bit more.
Yeah.
So then Harry, Harry gets his broomstick back. Because they took his broomstick to check it to make sure that there was nothing wrong with it. Which I can kind of understand. They wanted to be safe.
Yes. And they do the match?
Yeah, Harry gets the broom back. And then he tries to patch things up with Hermione. But then Ron sees blood on his bed sheets and thinks that Scabbers had been eaten by Crookshanks. So now they're not talking to Hermione again because of that.
Yeah, and I think there was a part during the night. In the book, Ron was woken up and he said he saw Sirius Black over him.
Oh, yeah, that was Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Halloween, Sirius Black snuck into the castle and destroyed the portrait of the fat lady. And then after that, Sir Cadogan took over.
Yeah.
And then he had actually gotten into the into the Gryffindor Tower and was standing over Ron because he was trying to get to Scabbers. And the reason why he was able to get into the Gryffindor Tower was because he had a list of passwords that Neville had written down because Neville...
keeps forgetting.
Yeah, he kept forgetting stuff. And I think that's when... Harry had gone to Hogsmeade, and then he was throwing the snow and stuff at them.
Yeah, and either way, now Neville has to wait outside of the common room till someone comes to open it because he's
banned from knowing the passwords. And the fat lady came back.
Yeah.
But she had to have goblin patrols.
Yes, and everything else. There's one time in the book Snape was teaching the class. Yes, also in the movie, but... in the book, he was telling him to write an essay, but that was before the Quidditch match.
Yeah.
And when Lupin came back, it's like, take all the stuff that Snape gave you and throw it.
Yeah, so then at one of the Quidditch matches, Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle, and I think Marcus Flint tried to freak out Harry by dressing up as Dementors. Harry tried to use the Patronus charm. And Lupin mentions later that he noticed that Harry's Patronus took on a particular shape of a stag. Which we will get into that.
Yes.
So then they do eventually make up with Hermione because she said that Hagrid lost his appeal. They go down to see him. They was that when they found Scabbers? No.
Yeah.
No, not yet. So they go down to see him. And he lost his trial, and then he had the appeal.
Yeah, and he has to teach safer creatures, which he didn't want to do. But in my opinion, I think you need to, when you're doing that class, you need to start with a little lighter creatures first.
I mean, hippogriffs didn't seem like such a bad subject either. Malfoy was just being an idiot and not listening.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all Malfoy's fault.
But
Fuck Malfoy.
All right. Anyways, besides that, yes. But what next, Steve?
Okay, so
Then we get to what? Buckbeak's execution?
yeah, so they go down. Hagrid told him he didn't want them to come down. They go down anyways.
And they gives back Scabbers and
yeah, they found Scabbers. Scabbers actually wasn't dead. They did think that Buckbeak had been killed. Then this big black dog came up, took off with Ron and Scabbers into the Whomping Willow. Crookshanks was helping. They go into the Shrieking Shack, and they found out that the big black dog was Sirius Black.
Yes, and now here's the thing that's going to be different from the book and the movie. In the Shrieking Shack, what was it? That we know how Lupin and Sirius were friends. But here's the thing. In the book, that's when they mention how him, James, and Lupin were all friends. And Peter were all friends in Hogwarts. That's in the book when we mentioned Lupin was Harry's dad's friend.
Yeah. And then we did find out at one point that that Sirius was Harry's godfather.
Yes. And they said, and this was kind of both key points on both book and movie, how Sirius was mad how he spent years in Azkaban, what Peter did and everything. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm glad they chose Gary Oldman to play Sirius, because he does look like Sirius from the book. Because doesn't mention how he has like long hair.
He had like long, shaggy, matted hair. He had a very gaunt appearance. He was very skinny. So yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect match for him. But besides that, Snape comes in and both book and
used Harry's invisibility cloak to sneak in.
In the book, he uses the cloak.
In the movie, he didn't.
But
because in the movie, they didn't even use the cloak to go down to Hagrid's.
Yeah,
they did in the book. Okay.
Yeah, and what was it? I think Harry. What did Harry use? Not Expelliarmus. Did he use?
No, it was Expelliarmus because him, Ron, and Hermione all tried to use it.
Yeah,
and it knocked him off of his feet, and it knocked Snape out. So Snape missed everything important.
Yeah, and truth be told, here's the thing: what was it? I know. What was it? I hear that some say Expelliarmus is Harry's go-to spell move, and Lupin mentions it.
Technically, is.
It is. But
because it plays a big part in the 7th book.
Yeah. And so Snape's knocked out, and they explain who Pettigrew is. They found out, turned him back into a human. And then it explains, see, in the movie it didn't explain what Sirius was doing in the common room at the time. They did explain a little, but explain more. And he's saying, I knew that was your rat was Peter, and he wasn't trying to kill Ron, he was trying to kill Scabbers. Mm-hmm. And they say how Scabbers knew Scabbers wasn't a rat.
Yeah, which they were able to prove that he wasn't.
Right.
He was also an animagus, which is somebody that can turn into an animal at will. There is a registry, and we find out that it was James, Sirius, and Peter had all learned how to turn into animals because Lupin is a werewolf.
Yeah.
So they couldn't keep they couldn't keep him company as people during that time, but they could, as animals.
Yeah, and it explains in the book why they did it and how they did it and everything, but not in the movie, which is a shame. Mm-hmm. But besides that, it talks about how in the book how they're carrying people, trying to take everyone out of the shack.
See, this is what I don't get. In the 7th book, when they were going to the Shrieking Shack, it said that they had to bend over double to get to the Shrieking Shack. But in the books, it's talking about how Snape, how the top of his head was dragging along the top of the cave.
Yeah.
Or the tunnel that they were going through. So, how big was the tunnel?
Who knows?
That's what I don't get. I don't understand if it was bigger than,
Yeah,
I feel like that's an inconsistency because we don't know exactly how big the tunnel was, but it had to have been big enough for them to walk through. But then they said that they had to be bent double, which means that they had to be like bent over like this going through the tunnel in the 7th book.
Yeah, and then we get in the part, the one scene where Peter escapes, Lupin turns into a werewolf, and Harry's defending off the Dementors while Sirius is knocked out.
Hermione and Harry were fighting off the Dementors.
Yes, and they get passed out, and that's when Harry sees the stag, thinking it's his dad, but they wake up in the infirmary, and Fudge is there. But in the book, Sirius Snape is telling Fudge while he's with everyone how dangerous Sirius is and Lupin is and everything.
Yeah, they have captured Sirius Black, and he was in Flitwick's office waiting for the Dementors because they were going to perform the kiss on Sirius Black.
And here's the thing. Dumbledore knew Sirius was innocent. So, but there was no proof. But they do know, he did give Hermione a hint to turn back, three?
It was like three turns should do it, Miss Granger. Remember, you must not be seen. Come to find out, she had a time turner.
Yes. See,
that's how she was getting to all of her classes. So she was turning back time to attend all of her classes.
Yeah. How did Dumbledore know she had it?
Because he's the headmaster.
Okay, good point. But in the book, didn't McGonagall give her to her in the book?
Well, McGonagall is head of Gryffindor and is the deputy headmistress.
So okay, yeah, but here's the thing. Did she give it? Because in the movie, she said she got it, first year? But in the book, what was it? She got it in her 3rd year?
No, she only got it in her 3rd year because she wanted to take all of the classes. Hermione has signed up for everything, and the only way that Hermione was able to get that time turner was McGonagall had to vouch for her and say that Hermione was a model student and that she would only use the time turner to get to her classes.
Yeah, and I think also McGonagall tries to tell her, hey, you need to stop using it as much.
No, she never said that.
I think she tries to tell her to slow down or something.
No, she never said that.
Either way, they go back in time, both book and movie, and they pretty much relive the stuff, but they try to do what they do, and
they find out that they did end up saving Buckbeak from being executed.
And also Sirius, but here's the thing. When we get to the part where, when they come back, Dumbledore locks the door until they go in, and that, because in the book, he locks the door and tells them to wait. Then he lets them in, but in the movie, he just walks away.
Yeah, he was like, they tell him when they run up to him in the movie, they're like, oh, we did what you wanted. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. In the book, he obviously knew what they were talking about because he knew that they needed to save Sirius, because they said you may be able to save one more innocent life tonight. So then that's when they realized that they had to save Buckbeak.
Yeah. So
then, Sirius was able to escape on Buckbeak. And then Snape's obviously pissed. Like, he busts into the infirmary, and he was like, they had something to do with it. And Madame Pomfrey's like, they've been here this whole entire time.
Yeah, and they did. And they got away with it. But in the book, Dumbledore explains to Harry why messing with a time turner can be bad and everything, because you can go mad. Because that's why going back in time is dangerous and everything with a wizard and everything.
Yeah. So, they explain to Ron, after Ron wakes up, what happened and everything like that. And then, they do end up winning the House Cup, and I do believe, and they won the Quidditch Cup too, because they were playing against Slytherin, and Harry had his firebolt and all that.
And in the book, we get a letter from Sirius on the train. Was it on the train?
They were on the train, yeah.
And he gave Ron a little small owl.
Jenny named it Pigwidgeon, but he calls it Pig, but we don't find that out until the 4th book. But
and
it was because it was his fault that Ron didn't have a pet anymore.
And in the letter, it explained where he's kind of going, but he also explains, I gave you that firebolt.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hermione was like, see, I told you. And he's like, but he didn't jinx it.
yeah, see? And they're just... He also told Harry, I signed you to go to Hogsmeade every year and also give him more money into his account.
No, he didn't. No. The money in his account didn't come until later.
Well, still.
He just gave Harry permission to go to Hogsmeade.
No, in the book, he also gave him some more galleons, too.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Whatever.
I know these books like the back of my hand, Mike.
Okay. Either way, in the book, that's how it ends. But in the movie, it just shows him riding on the firebolt of a mystery.
Yeah.
With the feather, knowing it's serious, but still. In my opinion, I prefer the book ending than the movie ending.
Now, was it the beginning of the third book? Yes, Noelle is grooming me. Was it the beginning of the third book where Ron tried to call Harry on the phone?
Yeah.
And Uncle Vernon answered, and he was like, is Harry... He's yelling over the phone, and Vernon's like all freaked out.
Or I think that could have been the fourth book.
I'd have to go back and look. But there is a part, it's either in the fourth or fifth, or it's either in the third or fourth book where Ron tries to call, and he is yelling over the phone, and Vernon tells him not to call anymore. And then he was like, Hermione probably would have had better luck because Hermione is actually Muggle-born and she knows how to use a phone.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the thing that happened. It was either in the third or fourth book. I can't exactly remember. I want to say that it was probably the third book that happened.
Yep. All right. So I think that's it.
Yeah, and they were talking about the Quidditch World Cup was coming up and that Harry was going to have to go stay with them.
Yep.
So, that is pretty much it with the comparison. The book is definitely 10 times better than the movie. I mean, the movie is good for what it is. I have come to the conclusion that the movies are just kind of like a standalone type thing. Like,
yeah, it's kind of like with me, right? I went to see The Long Walk, right? But I read the book before I went to see the movie. How can I say this? I love the movie, but I like the book way more because how it was.
Yeah. And see, and the thing with what I really like about like the newer anime that's been coming out, like when we went to go see Demon Slayer, season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen is coming out in January, so y'all look forward to that. But the anime has been following the manga a lot, the source material, so much better than what they have done with books. Like, because the only movie that I have really seen that we have talked about that actually followed the book really well was 5 Feet Apart. That actually followed the source material really well. It Ends With Us did not really follow the source material very well. Harry Potter wasn't really following the source material very well.
Nope.
Anime and manga has been getting better about that. Or anime has been getting better about that, where they do follow the source material very well. So, but I mean, again, these movies are like...
good what they are. And...
no, they're almost like 20 years old. I think the last movie came out in 2007. So... Prisoner of Azkaban is over 20 years old, which makes me feel so fucking old because I think that movie came out in 2005. The beginning of 2005 because I went to go see that movie on opening night with a friend of mine in high school, and I was a junior in high school. So, the beginning of 2005 was when that movie came out, if I remember correctly.
Right. But, yeah.
So, that is it for this comparison of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So, next week's hint is 10-gallon wiener.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe and comment back, please.
Yeah. What did you like better, the book or the movie? And we will see you guys later. Bye.